Good evening and a very warm welcome to everyone present here. I am Anmol Jha, the management lead at GDSC IGDTUW for this cohort. In case any of you are unaware of what GDSC is, GDSC stands for Google Developer Student Club. It is the community of developers backed by Google. Our aim is to solve the problems of our local communities with the help of Google technologies. This fall, GDSC IGDTU brings to you its very own open source program, the GDSC Autumn of Code. Many of you might be wondering what open source is, how do I start contributing in open source, what all programs and open source opportunities are there for beginners. To answer all these questions, today we have with us our guest speaker for the session, Miss Vani Chitkara.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for all of you who have joined in. I'm Parul Maan, and I'm the current lead of GDSC IGDTUW. Thank you, Anmol, for that lovely introduction. And as you have heard, we're running our own open source program this year, which is the GDSC IGDTU Autumn of Code. And this is our Kickstarter session for it. Now, starting off with our lovely guest speaker. She's somebody who's been involved with GDSC for the longest time, and you might know her as somebody who's contributed extensively to open source. We have Vani Chitkara Di with us.
Thank you, Anmol. Thank you, Paru, for the lovely introduction. Hello,
Hello.
everyone, and good evening to everyone who's joined. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, cool. So
Hello,
let's
Vani
start
Ji.
the session without further ado. So Anmol and Parul talked about open source. You all must have heard it 1,000 times, right? Like first year where you all come and there's seniors everyone telling like open source karo, dev karo, DSC karo. So today we'll be talking about open source and like what actually it is and how you can be an open source contributor. So, free and open source software, which is more commonly known as open source software, is a software program which has its code available to on the internet and it can be modified by everyone. So you don't, it's not a proprietary code, it's an open code so that you can like everyone can have a look at the code and can see that how they're coding at the back end, right? And the free and open source software is maintained by a community of tech enthusiasts which are working on a voluntary or on a contract basis. So either these people are working on their own will or like they are being paid a little bit of compensation for their contributions to the open source community. So we have contributors from all over the world who are contributing to the code basis of open source software programs. So you might have multiple programmers from, let's say, India, USA, Ghana, Nigeria, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, from all these countries who might be collaborating towards a single project. So you can learn real-time collaboration and asynchronous collaboration through open source. And the best thing about open source is that everyone and anyone can contribute. There is no such barrier to contribute to open source. So, talking about my journey with open source and how I got started with it. So, like when I was in my second year, I started learning web development, and in the October of 2020, I participated in Hacktoberfest, which was my first time participating, as in an open source program, just to start my journey into contributing. Right. And after Hacktoberfest, I was very pumped up because I could complete my 4 PRs, and even though I never got swags for it, they got lost in an abyss, and my t-shirts were never got delivered. But I fell in love with open source and I contributed to various projects after in the web development tech stack since I was learning web development at that time. And in February 2021, I applied for Outreachy, and I was shortlisted for the contribution period during which I contributed to Eclipse.team. I contributed to OpenArchive and Fedora as well. So these three organizations had very different type of contributions. One had totally code-based contributions, other had design contributions solely, and OpenArchive had design, web, and many tutorial-based and video making contributions as well. So in open source, it's not only about the code, and like you can contribute in multiple ways which do not include coding. So that's a very great part for those who might not be very confident with their coding skills right now. So in May 2021, I got selected as an outreach intern, and from June to August, in these 3 months, I contributed extensively to open source, and I contributed to OpenArchive. And post my internship with them, they decided to hire me on a contract basis. And currently, I'm working with them as a researcher and strategist. And my work is not only limited to that. I do help them with development management, and I do help them with graphic design as well sometimes. And this year, August, I also participated in an MLH fellowship program as a prep fellow. So this has been my journey, and I hope you guys can see that it's like when I was a beginner, and only after I learned how to contribute to open source, I started bagging some positions in open source programs. So everyone starts as a beginner, but then again, it's great to have a great open source journey. So you might be thinking, why is open source important, right? Like, why do these programs exist, what is their purpose? So for the first and foremost thing is that not everyone can pay for the expensive software products that are available over there. Like, for example, if you are a student and you want Microsoft suite, you might be knowing that its subscription is very expensive, like the Microsoft 365. So you might be looking for cheap alternative, or free alternatives. So in that case, open source comes to rescue, and you can have programs like Apache Open Office, which is completely free. So you can use that office suite as well, instead of Microsoft, because it might be expensive for some people. And people can customize the software according to their needs, which is a very great part of open source. And either you are a beginner or an experienced developer, you can contribute to open source. And you can learn to collaborate with multiple people at the same time. You can learn to collaborate synchronously, asynchronously, and real time collaboration. So these are multiple types of collaborations that you can learn while you're contributing to open source. And last but not the least, you can learn new tech stacks by contributing to open source using specific technologies. So let's say you find out a project about Android. Like, let's say you want to contribute to a project by a big tech company, and they have a particular requirement of a tech stack. So you can learn that tech stack side by side and can contribute to the project. And also it would add to your CV, and it would add to your existing skills, that you know a new language, a new tech stack. So, journey of an open source contributor, how one starts from a beginner, and then what are the steps to follow, like a path that leads to being a pro contributor. So first of all is that everyone who starts with open source learns Git, and they become familiar with GitHub or GitLab or any other like GIU for the Git version. So Git is a version control system. So multiple people can collaborate real time using Git, right? So you must have known that Google Docs also gives a feature like that. So you can see the version history of people who have contributed to a document in Google Docs. So it's the similar with Git. And GitHub and GitLab, what they do is that they make it easier for you to visualize the changes. So it's like a graphic interface for Git. So after learning Git and GitHub, you follow the path one and part two, which I'll be talking about shortly. So these two paths, I'll be telling about how you can get started with open source. You following these two paths, and after you go either through path one or path two, you can participate in open source programs. There are plenty out there for beginners, for experienced people. So you can choose your program wisely, like where you want to contribute and gain experience as a contributor. And after you are sure that okay, you have contributed enough, you can start mentoring people to get started with their journey in open source. So helping people is the best way to contribute back to the open source community. And if you think that you have got it, you can mentor newbies in open source. And after some consistent contributions, you can get a chance to be a project maintainer or an official mentor in an open source program. So you might be knowing that Outreachy and GSOC, these people also recruit, like companies who are taking part into these programs recruit mentors as well, who help you to solve your doubts. So you can be that person, and you can be leading a new set of people who are getting into open source. So you must be thinking that okay, I got it how to contribute, but when should I start contributing? So the ideal time to contribute is now. Like after this session, just start over. Google first. You can Google beginner friendly issues or good first time issues, which are very beginner friendly, and you can straight away contribute to them. So let's say I know HTML and I want to contribute. So I can just Google good first time issues for people who know HTML, and you can find a list of contributions, sorry, list of projects that have HTML used, and you can contribute to them. So as soon as you learn a tech stack, make contributions, because it's the best way to practice. So if, let's say, I have learned React.js and I want to practice more, either I can build my own projects, which is kind of fun, but contributing to open source is more fun, because you learn to read a project, you learn to explore a project which is not yours. And when you become an intern, or when you become a software developer in a company, you might need that skills to be very handy to you. So contributing to open source makes you ready for, your corporate journey, so that you can learn how to read code that is not written by you, but you can make changes to that code. And many open source programs are organized around the year, and you can get started by participating in any of them. So, like, it's almost the end of October. I'm sure a lot of you must have heard about Hacktoberfest and must have contributed over there too. So congratulations to everyone who has completed their 4 PRs for Hacktoberfest. You have taken your first steps to get into open source. And the mentors and project maintainers of all these programs are very supportive and very helpful. Like, you might think that your small doubt is very silly and you should not ask it, but you should keep aside your hesitance and should ask your doubts to your mentors, so that they can help you out. No doubt is silly and no doubt is small. You should definitely ask your doubts. And lastly, time and tide waits for none, so start as early as you can in open source. So there are several open source programs that open around the year, which I can see that most of you recognize these logos, which are Hacktoberfest, GSOC, MLH, Outreachy, and LFX. So I'll be talking about these programs and like how you can take part in them. So you must be thinking that these are programs and there are several programs, but how to get into these programs? So the very simple answer to it is that just keep on contributing to open source projects without thinking of any personal gains. Like, you are contributing, but you don't get a benefit in return except for learning. Like, you don't get any monetary benefits in here, but you keep on learning and keep on expanding your previous knowledge. And programs like GSOC, MLH Fellowship, and LFX Mentorship, they look for previous contributions, right? So if you're already actively contributing into the open source space, it might be a little bit easier for you to get into these programs, since you already are familiar with the open source space and you know how to contribute to it. So these programs, some of them might not be very, beginner friendly, but what about beginners then, right? There must be something for them too. So don't worry, there are a lot of things for beginners in open source. So beginners can start contributing to programs like Hacktoberfest, which is running even till now. So it's not late. You can start contributing even now to Hacktoberfest. Many organizations organize events like Summer and Winter of Code. You can participate to projects which are very beginner friendly, and people are encouraged to get started with those projects first before they contribute to projects which are bigger in size and they might be having a lot of complications. Outreachy, the program that I participated in, is also very beginner friendly, and they also welcome contributors who are not familiar with open source, even though they appreciate that you might, like, you should have an open source background. But even if you don't have it, it's not nothing to worry about. At least you should know a tech stack that you can contribute to before you get into Outreachy. So the 5 programs that I talked about earlier, how you can apply for it and when they open their applications. So Oktoberfest is running right now and no prior experience is required. For Outreach, the applications open in February for Indians. So the program runs twice a year, and one is the summer cohort and one is the winter cohort. The summer cohort is for Indians because during that time we have a summer vacation, so we can intern there at Outreach. And prior experience is appreciated, but it is not necessary at all. So if you're a complete beginner, go shoot your shot and you might get selected to Outreach. For GSOC, the application is open in last week of March, and like, prior contributions to the organization that you apply are a very huge plus point. So let's say you want to apply to Eclipse Adoptium, or you want to apply to Moya Global, right? So these these organizations might look for previous contributions from you even before the GSOC timeline. So it will be very good for you if you start contributing as early as you can if you are aiming for GSOC. For LFX, the applications are open around the year, and it depends on the project's availability. So there are many projects which are based on cloud and DevOps in LFX, and if you're interested into that area, you should definitely go for LFX. And obviously, for same as GSOC, the prior contributions to the organization you want to apply for are a huge plus point. For MLH fellowship, this information is a little bit outdated, but now they also have prep programs which run every month. And for the full time fellowships, they happen thrice a year, which is spring, summer, and fall. So you can apply to the prep fellowships anytime you want, and applications for the spring and summer fellowship are open right now, if I'm not wrong, because fall one is running correctly. So you can apply for the spring fellowship right now for MLH. And the only requirement for MLH is that you should have all good projects that solve real life problems, because they ask for a code sample while they are evaluating your application. And having a good project which has both front end and back end running, and it is solving a very good problem, like very good real life problem, would be a huge plus point, and it guarantees that you get selected for the fellowship. So earlier I was talking about the journey of open source contributors, and like how they get from being a novice to being a mentor in the community. So these are the two paths that can help you get started with open source contributions. So the first path is what mostly a lot of people do, is that they first learn a tech stack, let's say web development, app development, or MLAI or AR/VR, and then they find projects related to these tech stacks and contribute. So some of the projects, they already, there are multiple projects already built on Flutter, you already built on Moon Stack, so you might not be having a tough time finding projects for contribution. But the second path, which is not a lot of people do that, but it is also a very interesting part to follow, is that first you find a project and then contribute to it by learning the tech stack that it has side by side. So I'll tell you, during my contribution period in Eclipse Adoptium, like I was contributing to the project which was based on JavaScript, and I knew JavaScript, but then again there was an issue which required me to learn Perl and XML. So Perl and XML were the languages that I had never worked with, so I had to learn them side by side and had to apply the syntax of those languages to solve the issue. So you learn new things while you're contributing to open source, as well as you expand your previous knowledge. And this is the path that you can follow to get into open source contributions. And we have another interesting program by GDSC IGDTUW for you all to get started with open source.
Thank you so much, Vanidhi, for all that information. I'm sure all of you all learned something. It might be a lot to process, but with our help with GDSC, you'll be open source experts in no time. Now, as you all know, Hacktober was running for the last month, and not a lot of you were aware about it or contributed properly. Not to worry, GDSC has got your back with Autumn of Code. Placed right after Hacktober, GDSC Autumn of Code is a program that we are running with a contribution period of 50 days. So, all of you who have missed out on opportunities or just want to get started, this is the perfect place for you. And it is for the first time that such a large woman centric program is being run at our university. So, you all being at the forefront of it have so much to learn, so much to gain. And I'm just really happy that I will be contributing together, we'll be learning together. And the best part about this program is it is beginner friendly. We not only have contributions that you'll be making, but lots of session planned throughout this 50-day period where you'll learn Git and GitHub, starting from the basics, how to contribute, how to find repos. And if you all are not very comfortable with tech stacks, we also have sections for low code contributions where you can contribute in documentation. You don't really have to add new tech to the project, but you can help with documentation, and there are a lot of other things that you can do. So we'll be covering everything. Also, we'll be having sessions on how to get selected into very prestigious programs like Vanidhi said, like MLH Prep Fellow, like Outreachy'. Also, there's going to be special emphasis on open source programs run by Google. As you all know, Google Summer of Code, and something which is new and for people with less coding experience, Google Summer of Documentation. So these are the two programs that we're going to be concentrating on. We're going to be preparing you. We're going to tell you how to make contributions, how to draft your proposals, and it's going to be a very holistic experience where get to know everything there is to know about open source. And the best part is it is super beginner friendly. We have our mentors who will help you contribute to amazing projects, and you'll have our support every step of the way. And something which gets on as an added incentive is the goodies we have, that you'll learn and you'll get rewarded for learning. So there are a lot of prizes that we have in store for everybody, lots of goodies. So you'll be very happy about it, and it's kind of an incentive that you learn and you gain something, you gain experience, and there's something material you can attach it to, something like a memoir. So I think that will be really fun. We're going to come together as a community, contribute to projects, and learn together.
Honestly, I'd say the prizes are very interesting and you all should take part in it so that you can start your open source journey with GDSC. And I think, Anmol, we can take some questions if they have any, right?
Yeah,
I
I'll
think
just
we
go over the prizes once for all the participants that we have planned. So, all the contributors who will be making their first successful pull request will get a certificate of appreciation from GDSC. This is for all the contributors. Now, the next top 25 contributors will not only get a certificate of appreciation, they'll also receive goodies and swag kits that we have for them. Also, the top 10 contributors will get a shout out from us on our social media handles. The top three contributors will get a special prize along with the swags and goodies that we have planned for them. Also, there's one special prize for all the female contributors. The top five female contributors will get a special prize from GDSC IGDTUW along with a shout out on our social media pages, certificate of appreciation, and lots of goodies and prizes that we've planned for them.
So there's something for everybody. So even if you just make a PR or a contribution, there is something in store for you to encourage you to learn, to encourage you to be better. And that is the spirit we have here at GDSC, where we reward you on learning so it can be a fun experience for all of us.
The contribution period begins on 5th of November from 12 noon. So, starting from the 5th of November, you can contribute till the 25th of December, 12 noon. It is a 50-day contribution period, and we expect all of you to contribute without any hesitation. This is a very beginner friendly program. You all can try this out. This can be your very first open source contribution opportunity.
If you feel like you don't know how to get started with Git and GitHub, you're not very comfortable in it, we have sessions for that as well. We have recorded videos. We're going to provide you with all the resources you need in the simplest way possible. So even if you make one PR, there's something in store for you. So it's a very inclusive process in which we want everybody to participate.
Now we can take up questions.
I think the first one I see is from Ashley. She couldn't contribute to Hacktober. She was not very confident. So should she try to contribute in Autumn of Code? Absolutely. That is exactly what we want here. This program is specifically placed after Hacktoberfest, because Hacktober is like the most beginner friendly program, and those who miss out on it kind of do feel low as to they missed out on such a great opportunity. So this is a chance for you to redeem yourself. And even if you have participated in Hacktoberfest, this is a place where you can hone your skills further. You can contribute to more advanced projects. So there's a place for everybody. And as a beginner, even if you don't know any tech stack very properly, so you can contribute with documentation, or you can make a little bit of CSS changes, some very basic stuff. So you can just get familiar with Git and GitHub and contributing, so you can further apply it to more advanced programs. So,
So, the next
Monish,
question that we have here is is this not just for IGT or for all colleges? Yeah,
so
everybody from all the colleges can participate in this program.
we have a few IGDTU specific repos. There are a lot of projects you can contribute to, so it is open for everybody. I think the next question we can take is Monisha Jha. Do we have to contribute in form of code or solve issues? So that is the thing. You can either contribute in form of code, you can make modifications to the existing code, or you can even make your own issues and suggest new changes which once approved. You can add something new to the project. And if nothing, you can always help with documentation. Documentation is also super important. It makes all the difference so that other people can understand the code you've written. It's a very important industry skill that people hone with open source. So documentation is also like a very important part. So you can always contribute to that. You can learn with that. So there's a place for everybody, for no code, low code. We're going to have sessions on all of it, so everybody can contribute.
I guess the next question that we have here is from Namya Jain. It's for Vanidhi, I guess. How can we find projects on GitHub so that we can contribute on them?
So hi Namya, finding projects is quite easy on GitHub so that you can contribute. So you should Google about good first issues or like beginner friendly issues, and there are several websites that keep a record of projects based on the tech stack and based on the difficulty of the issues. Because we have the provision of labeling the issues with the difficulty level, which can be easy, moderate, beginner friendly, or difficult. So there are multiple sites which have a record of programs and projects on GitHub, and you can find them. I'll just find the website and I can, I'll just send it to Anmol so that she can comment it down in the chat box.
Sure.
That's great. Next, we have Gaurav Kumar. Can other institute students participate? Yes, they can participate. You're more than welcome to participate. We want it to be an inclusive experience for everybody. Now, the next
So
is
Vani Jain is asking, will Autumn of Code be same as Hacktoberfest? It
so
will be
essentially
similar to any other open source opportunity, but this will be more beginner friendly since most of the participants here will be participating in their first open source program.
also in Hacktoberfest, you could contribute to any repository which is tagged with Hacktoberfest. But for us, we'll be having specific repos, but they will include all tech stacks. So there's nothing to worry about. It will be more specific, which will make it easier for you. There are even DSA contributions. So it will be the same as Hacktoberfest, just a little beginner friendly and a little bit of ease of comfort for everybody who's a beginner to contribute.
The
Okay, the
next
next.
question is Kamya. Kamya is asking, how do we search for repositories that resonate for us? Vanidhi?
Yeah, hi Kamil. So what you can do is either you can Google about the good first issues, but if you want to find repositories that resonate with you, what you can do is you can reach out to people on Twitter. Like you can just simply tweet that, hey, I want to contribute to projects that use Python. Can you send me some projects? So people can do is they'll tag their projects. Let's say I'm making a project which is of breast cancer detection in Python using MLA, right? So if you're interested in that, you can contribute to that project. You can contribute to writing the machine learning model for that. Also you can join several student communities which share open source programs and open source repositories where you can contribute. So there are multiple student communities, you can find out about them while googling, and it would be easy for you to find repositories that way.
Also, you don't really have to contribute to projects. You see organizations which have bigger projects or are working with software that we interact with. Like a friend of mine contributed to Firefox. So, like, these are big organizations that once you have the technical skills, you can contribute to them as well and improve their software, their interfaces. Suppose you're facing a bug or something that you're using and you are not able to work with it properly, you can actually go to that software's repository and contribute to it, create an issue. So in a way, you're solving a problem that everybody faces on a bigger scale. So that is also that can be something that resonates with you. That can be an issue you solve that you yourself faced.
So the next question is from Gaurav Kumar. He's asking how to register for this program. So Gaurav, will be launching our website. The website for GDSC Autumn of Code will be live on Monday. And on that website, you can register for the program. You can join our Discord server as well. And you can stay connected with the mentors on the Discord server. And you can ask your doubts or any queries that you have over there only. All the
For
details of
I
the program will be there on the website, and you'll find all the support that you need for participating in this program on the Discord server.
for IGDTU students, everything will be circulated, and for non-IGDTU students, join our Discord server, and there is our website for sure to clear all your doubts. And if you face any problem, you can always tag our mentors, tag us on our Discord, and we'll be with you every step of the way. And one thing also that I wanted to address was the new first years are here. So if any of those kids are with us right now, you don't need to feel scared. And this is something not very daunting. And even if you don't know anything about coding or don't know if open source is a very new word for you, there's nothing to worry about. You can always join into the program. You can always learn. Even if you're not able to contribute, you will learn so much because this is something which is so inclusive, and you have your mentors which are with you at college, there for you. You can reach out to them anytime. So even to be a part of it will be such an enriching opportunity for you. So I'd suggest everybody, the first year, second years, everybody to contribute or at least be a part of it. Attend our sessions, learn, because the details in which we're going on about Git and GitHub, about contributing, about making proposals, it will be like a one-stop shop for you to learn everything there is to know about open source.
And I'd like to include one more thing, that don't feel overwhelmed by knowing that, okay, you are finally into engineering, you might want to learn everything at once, right? So it's not how you progress. Just take one step at a time. Let's just start with GitHub first. And then if you want to go to DSA, do DSA. If you want to learn development first, you can go there. But you will have enough time in your 4 years to learn everything that you want to. So don't rush into something, and be calm, and don't be scared to participate into such programs, because they'll help you a lot to include, help you a lot to enhance your knowledge. And as Parul said, that these programs are very inclusive. So even if you think that you might not be able to contribute in some way, but then you just come and sit for the sessions and learn. That's very easy, right? You just need to attend a half an hour session, and then you'll be learning about something new every day. So for first years, I really suggest to take part in this program and join us at GDSC IGDTUW.
So when you contribute to projects and you see your changes getting merged, you see yourself contributing, it brings about such a great sense of community and how you own a part of that project and how that project has been with you. You've written code for it. It just makes you feel so good on the inside. It makes you feel like you're a part of something which is bigger than yourself. Like collaboration on such a big scale, it just feels so good from the inside. And as engineers, as people who are going to be collaborating on software in the industry for the rest of our lives, open source, Git and GitHub, these are things that we should all be familiar with because we are going to be using them. And this platform, this opportunity is a great place to start. And the support that you're getting with our college, the prizes you're getting, the incentives you're getting, I mean, honestly, when I first came to college, there was no such open source program, so I just had to dig around a bit. But to have all of this in one place has been my dream, and to give this to you is just so amazing. So please contribute, please participate, and just go through it. It is something that you'll have a lot of fun with, you'll learn so much with, and it is going to be amazing.
I don't think
Okay,
we
then,
have any more questions in the chat box.
right. Okay, I
So there
think
are no
that's
more
it.
questions. I hope you all participate in GDSC Autumn of Code. This is such a beginner-friendly opportunity for you where you can contribute in any form. There can be no code contributions as well, like Parul and Vani, they have already told you. There's no need to feel overwhelmed. There's no need to feel hesitant about anything. You can contribute however you like. You can even contribute in the form of UI. That will also be accepted. So just make any kind of contribution that you feel confident about, that you feel
Uh,
comfortable with. Yeah,
Another thing you can do is something which I did initially when to get comfortable with open source is you can make design changes. You
yeah.
can make nav bars, or even if you don't know any tech, you can, as Anmol said, design the UI. There'll be repos in which you can have lots of UIs, lots of options, code, no code, it's all there. So, even if you don't
You
know
can
how to
even
code,
contribute your previous projects. If you have any projects that you want, if you want any projects to get featured on our website, you can contribute those projects as well, and we'll put them out on our website. So the top 5 projects or 6 projects, those which stand out, we might feature them on our website, the GDSC IGDTUW website. So if you have any previous projects that you want to share with us, that you want to contribute, you can put that as well in our repositories. So any kind of contribution, new, old, no code,
and then
low code, anything that you feel comfortable with, you can contribute. And
and
at every step of it, you will get help from our mentors. We'll be providing resources in the form of videos, we'll be providing YouTube links, we'll be providing specially written notes for you, which you can refer to and make contributions to our website.
also one thing that really puts things into works with open source is innovation. Like if you see a project, you can raise your own issue and with your innovation, with you can learn new things, you can contribute new things, and you can add major features to an existing project, and then you can show your innovation. It's all on GitHub. People are going to check out your GitHub when they come for recruiting you. They're going to see how much you contribute to open source, what are the changes you've made in other repos. So having this on there, making contribution, is something that is going to stay with you for life, and it is something that you should know how to do. So this is obviously a great opportunity to start. um so if you don't have any more questions, I think we can conclude.
Yeah, you can join our Discord server. The link will be there on our website when it goes live. So you can join our server then and be a part of this program and contribute in any form, any way that you like.
And for
Thank you so
non-IGDTU
much.
And for
Yeah.
non-IGDTU students, you can always tune into our Instagram handle, Twitter, LinkedIn. We're everywhere. You can always just Google us and you can get the links for our websites. Discord servers know about all the upcoming events, know the details of this program. So there's always ways to contact us and get to know us. We're there, we're present. And thank you so much, Vani Di, for coming here. I'm sure a lot of you all learned a lot about open source today. At least you're taking something away from this session. I'm so glad everybody could join. Special thanks to Vani Di. Thank you, Anmol, for facilitating this session so well. And thank you, everybody, for joining.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much. We hope to see you soon in our next session. Take care. Bye bye.